In 2024, the amount of people experiencing homelessness on any given night was the highest number since they began keeping track of that data in 2007. A total of 771,480 people, or about 23 out of every 10,000 people in the United States. Nearly 150,000 children experienced homelessness on a single night in 2024, reflecting a 33% increase, or 32,618 more children over 2023. About 1 in every 5 people experiencing homelessness on a single night in 2024 was age 55 or older. People who identify as Black, African American, or African continue to be overrepresented among the population experiencing homelessness. People who identify as Black made up just 12% of the total U.S. population, and 21% of the U.S. population living in poverty, but we're 32% of all people experiencing homelessness.
Nearly all categories reached record levels.
People in families with children had the largest single-year increase in homelessness between 2023 and 2024. 39% more people in families with children experienced homelessness. Overall, the number of people experiencing homelessness increased by 18% from 2023 to 2024. Listen, when we let our people be homeless, let me rephrase that, the people that are in this country, that is what I mean, people that are in this country. When we don't take care of homeless people, we wind up creating problems for ourselves. You know, even if people want to think of it from like a selfish motivation, you know, I just think that, you know, if we want to be great or whatever, right, we can't be neglecting people. We just can't. We really need to try to find a way, like, starting individually and then trying to build a community around us. You know, most people just need an opportunity, man, you know. What are the causes of homelessness? It's things like mental health, addiction. The majority of people that are homeless are like extremely traumatized. When we neglect people that are in this country from having, you know, a place to be, a chance, we prevent greatness from gracing our lives. You know, we never know where the next Albert Einstein, the next, you know, fill in the blank of somebody that has changed the game, so to speak, right? But most people just kind of need a helping hand up out of the situation that they have found themselves in, and they've gotten there by whatever means they have. But just know that most people just need an opportunity. You know, the recent and current views on homeless people, or, you know, those in poverty or whatever, it's a direct result of the Lantrim and Petrist Short Act that we covered, you know, in the last full episode. You know, we're still definitely feeling the ramifications of that act and of all of the dominoes that fell afterwards. So-called welfare queens or other whatever vitriolic, you know, bullshit. This whole welfare queen sort of campaign definitely started shifting the view of homeless people and people that are in poverty. You know, decidedly shifted it, you know, to painting those people as like undesirable or whatever. Now, are there people that are experiencing homelessness who are in that scenario due to decisions that they've made? Yes, absolutely. I was one of those people. But are there homeless people who would benefit from adequate access to health care, mental health care, these kinds of things, a job program, a place to be? You know, yes, absolutely, people would benefit from that. You know, and if we fix the way that we treat things in this country, we have a tendency to be treating symptoms only, okay? And that's not the way that you do things. If you're treating symptoms only, eventually the whole thing's gonna break down before you even had a freaking second to perceive what was happening. But many people would become fully functional members of society again, or for the first time, if they were only given access to things that would help them get through whatever it is that got them to be homeless. The whole shifting of the view of society towards homeless people, it just kind of became an ingrained fear.
Everyone's
because any
scared.
people that were children when that was happening, that are now in power, or at least that stuff was happening in their like formative years, you know, that shifted mindset has progressed into today's politics, and it shifted with it this entire time, where now, because the people who were during their formative years hearing about so-called welfare queens, they are now legislating that same kind of, you know, pulling the ladder up once you get to the top kind of thing. You know, all these people come from families of immigrants, and that's what this country was based on. And now it's like once they're in, they want to shut the door on other people having that same opportunity. And it's gross, to be completely honest. There are always going to be bad actors.
How am I doing today, Gary Busey? You're doing great. Good. Then I'll keep it up.
But to wrap a bow on it, most people just need mental health care. They need a temporary financial boost program. And those people can once again, or like I was saying, for the first time maybe in their lives, become fully functioning, happy, healthy, productive members of the society. You know, according to Columbia University, as of October 18, 2024, $282 billion are lost from our GDP annually, equivalent to 1.7% of our annual GDP. Mainly, we just need to help our fellow humans. I mean, that's first and fucking foremost. You know, what are some possible solutions? A way to fix homelessness, just during the last 2 years of research that I've done, one of the very glaringly obvious opportunities to both create the housing that we need and also provide people jobs who are looking for them. Look, there are bad actors everywhere and in all things. There will always be people who would accept or flat out be looking for a handout. However, that is not the majority. That's simply stating that there will always be a small percentage of people who will just flat out be looking for that. Just as people say that we shouldn't defund the police and abolish the police because of a few bad apples, then why is the same thing not true for when it's talking about looking out for the people? That's not what we're talking about today, but the whole thing, it all wraps in together. The better we treat people, the better we set people up for success, the better the outcomes that we can have, flat out. Nobody dreams that they'll become homeless. Nobody wants to remain homeless. And nobody wants to have to beg for change. Speaking of, let's talk about spanging.